Giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah Ba'Hashem Haраchakodash. Say double honors to our apostles and elders here at Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the Lord's hopefully elect. So real quick this morning, the brothers greeting each other. Shalom in the morning. And brother Gabar, Yahweh the Hawaii, just shared this information that said that they analyzed for 2024, and you know what they do is they compare what the economy was back in like the 1960s and how much the value had the dollar, the value has devalued, and how much inflation has kicked in, and the price of houses, food, etc. And they calculate that now the American dream is 4.4 million. And here's what they estimate. Now this is obviously numbers set up to where you factor in that you want to actually have room for leisure to do things like the pledge of the flesh, have a nest egg in case hard times or an emergency was to happen, and to not have the cares of money. So they estimated that everything on average now will cost 4.4 million. Okay, saying like, look, you basically need you need 1.6 million as a retirement. Like that's what you need to retire with, right? And they're saying that owning a car, you basically need 800K, which that could be excessive. I mean, that's if you're talking like a brand spanking new, because these vehicles today now actually cost a lot of money, and if you factor in at least two cars with all the insurance, right? If you're gonna pay the annual insurance, right? Wedding, which that could be cut out. Raising two kids and trying to set up something for them, for so-called college for their future. You basically need another $1 million, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. Like, the dream is there because if you look at how your grandparents lived, they didn't have to live as bad as it was now. They can actually remember back when gas was a nickel, when candy bars were a quarter. They can remember those days where I remember back when I used to eat the filth, right? McDonald's, when I was a teenager. Yes, it really was $1. It really was just $2. I used to say, okay, I got $2, I can get 2 burgers. Okay, that'll hold me. Now, because I ain't eat that crap in well over a decade since I came in the truth. Now apparently that's not the case. Apparently fast food, which I don't eat fast food, but apparently fast food is like $5, $8, $10, $15, and you would think that it shouldn't cost that much, but apparently it is. So, and they'll tell you, well, what you could get years ago, you can't get the same today. And on top of it, they shrinking the size now. You could go look at like a McDonald's burger from the early 2000s to now. It's shrunk, but it costs more. That's ridiculous, but that's the price that's inflation, and they also call it shrinkflation. It says owning a home, basically $1 million, basically, if you want to factor in paying it every year, because you can never truly own anything in this society, ever. You can never truly own anything. If you have, so like in Missouri, you have to pay personal property tax, right? So anything you own, you still have to pay taxes on it, so-called own, because if you don't, then you can't renew your tags. If you don't pay, you can't do all these things, and you have to pay every stinking year. And that's a lot of states. Where if you go to Florida, you might say, oh, I don't have personal property tax, but you have to pay more taxes. So the devil's gonna get his money either way. You see, pets if you want pets, vacation, all the other stuff. So this is the downfall of Babylon the Great. And the point I wanted to make was, when your grandparents, it was basically better back then, and you struggling now. Look how hard it is today. Okay. But yet people think that if they was to have children now, that and let's say this place was to go on, the children aren't going to be, they're going to be more stressed. It's going to be even harder for them if we just let things go on. You see, like right now, you got people who will still stand at home with their parents, and they could be in their 30s. Why? And they could be by themselves. They could be single. Why is that? Because the economy is less jobs. People getting laid off, especially corporate, because of AI. You got the dock worker strike, which that was over automation, primarily automation, because they're afraid that they won't have a future. And because, a lot of those trades, or a lot of those jobs, if you dedicate like a factory worker, when people worked in those factories back then in the early 1900s, they worked that one job and that's basically all they knew. If the factory shut down, they more than likely couldn't do anything else because that's all they knew. A lot of those people who work the docks, that's probably a lot of them, that's the only thing they know. So if they were to lose their gig, then they know that they won't be able to pivot anywhere else. So that's really what that strike's about, okay? Because I think but the thing is, a lot of them are making more than the average American. Like 80K? Come on, man, 80K? That's good. That's good, and that's why the scriptures teach us about contentment, because you're fighting, I didn't say you're fighting, but you're on a sinking ship. The Lord is against the ship, is sinking. So what makes you think that you're supposed to prosper? What makes you think that you're really supposed to excel in this society when you see that everything's collapsing? Like I said, you got children today who stay with their parents and they in their 30s, right? It's just hard for them. It's hard for them. They're like, shit. So imagine if they had kids and the Lord was to let this place go on for another 30 years. Do you really think that their children will be well off? No, they'll be even more in straits. They'll have to stay with them probably for life, because the Lord is against the society, so this place is coming to an end. And I just want to highlight what the Lord told to Baruch, okay? This goes into us denying ourselves, as Yahushua said. Right? You're going to have to accept that in the time that we're living in, we're living in the end of days. There are certain things we wish we could do, we would have done, we may even want to do, but because of the prophecies, it may not happen, it may not occur. And you have to accept that this is the will of the Lord. You have to learn to let go of certain things and move with the course of the river, flow like water. And that's why the Lord tells you to be like a pilgrim, because you got to have a mentality of ready to drop and go. Okay? Jeremiah 45, it says, the word that Jeremiah the prophet spake unto Baruch, the son of Neriah, when he had written these words in a book at the mouth of Jeremiah in the 4th year of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, saying, thus said the Lord Yahweh, the God of Israel, unto thee, O Baruch, thou didst say, woe is me now, for the Lord Yahweh had added grief to my sorrow. I fainted in my sighing, and I find no rest. Thus thou shalt say unto him, the Lord Yahweh saith thus, behold, that which I have built will I break down, and that which I have planted I will pluck up, even this whole land. And seekest thou great things for thyself? Seek them not. For behold, I will bring evil upon all flesh, said the Lord Yahweh, but thy life will I give unto thee for a prey in all the places whither thou goest. Okay? Read that in the NLT. Well, New King James. It says, and do you seek great things for yourself? Do not seek them, for behold, I will bring adversity on all flesh, said the Lord, but I will give your life to you as a prize in all places wherever you go. So you see, the Lord is telling Baruch, I hear you sighing and being upset because you happen to be living in a time where I'm about to bring judgment, and you're upset because the things you seek to desire, the great things, you basically denied because of the circumstance and the time that you're living in. He said, you upset at that? He said, don't worry about those things that you wish you may aspire to do. He said, because I'm bringing destruction to this whole land. And all you need to know is that I'm going to preserve your life. That's your prize. So don't worry about these things. Look, the people that got hit with that hurricane, they had dreams, aspirations. They had houses. They had retirement set up and all that. And the Lord came and literally turned the cities upside down. So everything they inspired to do, everything that they thought their future was going to be, just in that instant, overnight, It's crushed. It's gone. And looking at the economy, look at how things go, you have to understand that if things don't work out the best way for you, especially being like a young man and you getting older, you looking at people on social media, you seeing these things and you wondering like, man, I should be further ahead in this world. I should be further ahead here. I should be further ahead there. You got to remember, first of all, the system was rigged from the get-go. It's designed for you to fail. It's not designed for you to prosper. And Esau has worked over years, decades, to invent a system to ensure that the poor stay poor while the rich stay rich. So you don't have a system that's actually set up to catapult you ahead. For the most part, Jake got to struggle just to get by and got to fight his whole life just to get somewhere. So that's from the beginning, okay? So it's not your fault. You live in a rigged system, and on top of it, it's set to be destroyed. It's going to be destroyed. So you can't beat yourself up because, the economy's bad and you can't get here and you want to get there. That's why, at the most, settle for the few things that you can and learn to be content, because you're living in the time where the Lord's going to bring destruction upon this place, and he's going to bring it down piece by piece, block by block. And you happen to be living in those times. So you can't be upset at the Lord when the Lord brings a judgment that you're affected. We're all affected. We're all affected. That's why he told us to be pilgrims on the earth. Let go of the things we may want to do, seek after. If it's too out of reach, or you may inspire to do it, I'm going to see what we're going to do, the Lord's will. That's why everything we do, my mentality, I honestly look at it, everything within a year. I can't even frame myself to think past a year. I can't. Because of how much a difference a day can make and what can happen. I can't even fathom. I look at everything within the year span. Okay. We'll see what happens, Lord's will. Because, we don't teach complacency over here. We teach, you can say, progression, but with the prophecy in mind. That's how the Lord wants us to think. It's in the scriptures. But knowing how things are, I think everything within a year. That's how I move and operate. I can't see myself thinking that far ahead, because look at what can happen. Okay, prices are only going up. Cost of living is only going up. Nothing's coming down. Nothing's coming down. So, it's actually a good thing to let go of the society, because this is screwed. I mean, what, you want to actually stay here when things are getting worse, and what? You want your children to grow up here? How do you expect your children to have a future living in this economy? And it's only getting worse. What kind of future do you honestly expect them to have? The Lord don't want us to stay here. He don't want us to be here in that mentality that we're just going to stay here and build. Build what? What's going to be set up for your children in this wicked ass society? You're going to have to, it don't matter how much you work. You can have $1 million set up for your children. Guess what? That'll just hold them for about a year or two. What they supposed to do with that $1 million? $1 million today ain't shit. $1 million today is like what 200K was, back in the 60s. That's what $1 million is today. $1 million won't get you anything nowadays, right? So just understand that, one, you're in a rigged system. It's rigged from the jump. It's not your fault. The Lord is coming to bring destruction upon this place, and we as believers, we can't set our heart on this place. He's coming to bring it down. It's a sinking ship. So what sense does it make to try to grow in a society? That's why that spirit of community, we got to build a community Israelite spirit. That's how you know they're in it for their own gain. Because how do you expect to solve this growing issue of the economy with, say, 4.4 million is basically needed for your children? And that's just that's each person, right? And the families they're going to make. So what sense does it make to try to build a community and build a lifestyle in a sinking ship? The Lord is against this place. That's why the Lord didn't tell us to think that way. That's the will of man. And that's why you shouldn't listen to them, because you're going to get set up off guard. You'll be more concerned about your community and being relaxed than you will about hastening the coming of the day. Meditating on the prophecies, looking what's come. Look, the Lord just sent that hurricane. Now there's another one brewing up that by this week it's going to hit Florida. And they said it's going to be one of the worst storms that ever hit that way. So brothers is bracing for impact. The elect, Lord's willing, the hopeful elect and their families are bracing for impact. The Lord is bringing judgment to this place, as the scripture says, there's no peace to the wicked because it's wicked deeds. So he's coming to overthrow, bring down, and tear down, as he said in the book, as we just read in Jeremiah. So why are you trying to seek good things for yourself, these great things? Don't worry about that. Worry about preserving your life in the faith and having faith in Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Brace for impact and live really day by day. And think within the span of a year, I would say. That will keep you focused on the scriptures. That will keep you from making decisions that aren't really conducive to yourself or to the ministry. You know what I'm saying? Be a pilgrim, as the scripture says. All right? Shalom.